Wack 100. Are you familiar with Wack 100?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yep. You know the name. Wack 100 just did an interview with Tekashi 6ix9ine, and it's getting a lot of heat. Apparently, it's coming out on Sunday. What are your thoughts on that?
I've been seeing that, man. I saw it on the timeline. I didn't realize it hadn't come out yet, but I can tell by the it looks like by the body language they was kind of heated. Okay, and I can see that because both those guys they got a lot of passion when they speak, and I'm curious to see what they said because I'm curious to see what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious to see what they got to say. Okay. You know, I was in the clubhouse this morning, and we referenced Tekashi, and they said, we don't mention that name in here, okay? They called him by his name, Danny, because they got little to no respect for him. There's little to no respect for him. He's probably one of the luckiest guys, as far as I can tell right now, that ever graced a microphone, because all he's done and all he gets away with, his behind the scenes security got to be a beast. Because he's always agitating something and trying to make something happen based on bullshit. He's always talking about how much money he got and what he can do and what you can't do and what you could do. And, you know, like we said this morning, a lot of these hip hop cats nowadays, they're more famous for their antics than they are for their music. Mm-hmm. Their stunts and their beefs become bigger than the music. Because I can't name you one. I think it was Gooba. That's the only one I can think of his. One song
probably the only one I know.
I can recall is Gooba, but I know he's a fool. Okay, and that's what happens when you play it for algorithms. You know, you do enough stuff over here to get people to go check out your song over here. Meanwhile, because they every time they click on that video or click on that check out that song, your algorithms go up and you put you in a position to put you in a better position that you may actually deserve.
Let me ask you this, because you know more about music than the average person, especially the business side. Tekashi 6ix9ine does get millions and millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of streams. We all know streams don't pay much. But in your opinion, is he really making all this money? I mean, he's driving Lamborghini. He has Lamborghinis. He's throwing around cars. Is he just fronting? And is this a setup? Is this an FBI thing? I'm starting to think he's a plan, is what I'm saying.
You know what, man? I don't know, Doc. I know we're gonna get some haters on this because we've talked about him before, and I found the chat room was full of hate. Oh man, leave that boy alone. Blah 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 blah. But you got cars. You may have cars, but you can't drive them nowhere. The bodyguards ain't gonna fit in them goddamn cars, okay? If you ever see the camera slip up and pan behind him, he has a full NFL line behind him everywhere he goes. He has an NFL line. They got a bunch of linebackers, not even the guards. He got linebackers behind him to cover his back as he go out and does his miscellaneous dumb stuff. Now, it's one thing to have all the cash and the cars, but you can't enjoy it. You ain't going nowhere in them cars. Now, who's to say them is his cars? I mean, I'm not saying they're not his cars, but who's to say they are his cars? Just because you standing in front of cars, you know, all them various colored Lambos or whatever. Come on, man. They got movie cars all day long. Okay, you can go rent a car in a matter of minutes, man. You can go floss whatever you want to. I ain't never seen him drive one of them.
Yeah.
I ain't never seen him drive. I ain't never seen him on the highway. I never heard him on the highway busting 60, doing nothing in no car. Again, when you got that kind of money and them kind of problems, you can't. What you gonna do with a 2-seater? Okay, you gotta put your bodyguards in a goddamn trailer behind you, or do like the president had them motherfuckers jogging on the side of the car. So yeah, man, that ain't gonna work. I mean, he might lease them for a while. Anybody with any real business sense don't really buy those cars. They lease them for the most part. You know, because first of all, the value drops so fast it's ridiculous. And who's to say your money gonna be the same way 5 years from now, 10 years from now? You got a few cats that will buy the cars, like Jay-Z or whatever, but most of the time, most guys they lease them. at least some 5-6 grand a month. Driving for a few months, go and shoot, get some pictures, and they go get another one. Every time you look around, you see somebody's car getting repossessed, man. Think about this. All these, you don't see all these Lambos and Range Rovers getting repossessed because the lease was up, or they get in trouble. They lease the houses, lease the cars, because they hit a lick, and that lick dry up. Okay, and all of a sudden you got the cats. Here he is on TMZ. They're going to get his shit. Because he ran out of money. He ain't on tour no more. His antics ain't getting paid no more.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was my point, too, because he's not performing. Like, if he was performing all the time and getting $100 grand here, I'd be like, okay, I could see it. But I don't know. Maybe it is all a facade.
But even if you performing, man, when you performing, you got a hell of a bill that – in his case, you got a hell of a bill that the promoters don't pay for. They ain't paying for your security. They're going to give you some money to show up. They're going to give you a per diem, and depending on who you are, you might get a pretty big per diem, and they're going to put you in a hotel and get you there, okay? But you still got to take care of your security guards.
That's right.
You got to feed all them big son of a bitches, okay? You got to put them in a hotel room. You got to transport them to and from the venue on your dime. They're not giving you doing all that. They're giving you a shitload of money, and you got to pay your managers, you got to pay lawyers, you got to pay agents. So if you get $100 grand, if you making $100 grand a show, theoretically, if you get $100 grand a show, 20% go to the manager, that takes you to 80. 10 goes to the agent, that takes you to 70. By the time you get through, if you have 50,000 with all your expenses, that's still not a bad payday, but still that's a nice little chunk. And some cats, I remember back in the day, it was a big thing about some. I don't call no names, but artists used to travel with their posse. You got cats, 20 cats in a bus, but when you get to the hotel, only person got a hotel room is the star. They're not putting the whole crew in a hotel.
Right.
So now you got 20 cats in a bus. You ever been in a bus at about 5 days with about 20 cats, 15 cats, whatever? That bus get funky as all outdoors. You got feet and ass everywhere, okay? And you got onions, you got weed, you got funk, you got buses getting real funky because you got to air them out sometime. But if you got 15, 20 guys that's rolling with you, well, I ain't gonna say 15, 20 guys. Say you got 10 guys, okay? Even that, the average bus might sleep 10 people at the most, okay? But if you live it on the bus, okay? But the star is in the hotel and the bus is in the parking lot, okay? So now your homies got to, you eating steak, they at McDonald's, okay? Because the promoter gonna take care of the management team and the artist. They don't take care of the homies. They don't have a homie budget. So now it was a lot of discrepancy because at some point in time, the homies like, man, why we gotta be in the bus? You in the hotel, and and cats don't understand what hotel life look like. You talking about $150 a night, and if cats ain't getting long, and they break something, that's on your credit card, man. It gets real expensive. Entourage, okay? It get real expensive to carry an entourage. So, like I said, promoters don't pay for entourages. That comes out your pocket. So you could theoretically go on a tour, make $500,000 and come home with $100 grand because you took care of the homies. Because you got to buy weed, you got to buy food. Don't let nobody get sick. They'll catch a case. You can't leave him. You can't leave the homie backstage in the state someplace. And if he do something stupid, they're not gonna sue the homie. They're gonna sue the artist. That's what the money is. The lawsuit.
If someone rapes a girl in a hotel, they don't go to the homie. They go to the artist. Hence Tupac Shakur.
It goes on the Lonzo crew. The Lonzo crew was involved in a sexual situation, and Lonzo and this crew. Then Lonzo's lawyer got to get Lonzo out of the shit first, okay? And if depending on the situation, here's what folks break up. And man, you ain't gonna get paid for my lawyer? Nigga, I wasn't even in the bus. I wasn't even around when y'all did this. Why I got to spend 20, 30 grand because you did something stupid? So now you got animosity, man. You got animosity. The folks think is you rolling that you got everything. You're going to take care of everything. They food, they weed, and their mistakes. And mistakes cost a whole lot of money, a lot more money than weed and goddamn food.
Man. That's deep, man. I hope you guys are listening, especially you upcoming artists. You know, knowing what you know about the music industry, if you, in passing, you know, came across the next big star, he's bound to be the next big star. There's no doubt about it. If you could give him maybe 30 seconds to a minute of advice of what not to do, what would you tell this brand new artist in passing?
Stay away from the gang activity. When you start associating yourself with certain street activity, you automatically get qualified to be looked at under a certain light. And that light comes with a lot of headaches. That's mean cats got to check in. You might have to pay somebody to go perform. Okay, you might have to go pay somebody, or you to check in. So your concert finna get turned out. Your bus gonna get shot up because you didn't come by and take care of the homie. Okay. So if you're doing some generic shit, if you're talking shit on your records, you're gonna get tested. Don't talk shit on your records. You're gonna get tested. You're not gonna take your California shit to St. Louis and talk a gang of shit and not get tested. It's happened to every artist that did that represented the set. They get tested everywhere they go. Because if you come to my town talking a gang of shit and I don't test you, I'm a buster. Well, me and my boys is busters. So we can't let you do that to us. You came to our town representing whatever the case may be. We represent this right here. Hey man, now my boy Unknown, he had a problem with him and seeing Compton Most Wanted. They got to Detroit, Unknown from Detroit. And something happened in Detroit, and next thing you know, Unknown got a gun case because he, carrying his gun in Detroit. He got a gun case. Okay. Now the judge don't have to let you. You can't get bail when you out of state because you're definitely a flight risk. You're not going to jail on a Friday and getting out of jail on going to jail on a Saturday night and getting bailed out on Monday morning because you're a flight risk. You don't live here. Well, now you got to start making some hell of a deal. Some got to crack. Okay, they eventually got out of it, but it cost a nice little penny to make that happen. Trust me.